of dependent origination. Probably you heard those terms. Interdependently exist. And every phenomena dependently exist in relative level of the reality. And there is no single phenomena that not dependent on something else being exist. And so here what we have to learn is that, and when we say the suffering, we say happiness, or whatever we wish or what we want or what we don't want, everything is dependent on causes and conditions. Some point it's dependent on our actions. And so you and me and others, it's interdependently exist, right? You is exist. But in here, you and me and others, there's no such truly exist the self and others. It's depend. I say it's you, you say me is you, right? There's no you something. If I say here, then I said there. And your point of view, here is there. My point of view, in the here and the there. There's no here and there truly exist something. It exists here and there, but it's dependent each other. And that similar up and down is it exists. Up is dependent on the down is dependent on the up, right? Like here. There's no such up and down truly exists there. If here is we said up, but if you look at here, then it's down, right? There's no such, there's up and down. This is covered everything. Every phenomenon is like this. It exists, interdependently exist. It's dependent on someone else. Then we know that the suffering that we don't want, but it's depend on causes and conditions. The causes and the conditions we called the karma, right? Our actions. From Dharma point of view, our suffering, there's a lot of different definition of the suffering from the Dharma point of view. That's first, and we should recognize what it is, right? Example, like a person sick, then you have to understand the cost of illness or illness itself. The similar suffering, and the Buddha recommended we should recognize as suffering. Then there's suffering related to the physical, suffering related to the mental. But it's not permanently truly exist. We can eliminate it, unnecessary suffering, right? Through understanding the interdependent origination. And as again, then suffering is came from causes, conditions. In the Dharma point of view, the suffering is related to the kleshas. Klesha, there's many types of kleshas. For example, not knowing the reality, we call it ignorance, and the hated, angry, and the desire or passion. Those is called the kind of the root of ignorance. And we do have other lots of mental states. But these ignorance is a temporary. It's also dependent on another, cause conditions. There's no such just without the cause conditions appears. So then to eliminating our ignorance is that we have to have correct view. The view that understand or first have to establish what it is. From Buddhist point of view, says that interdependent. Dependent origination. It's view. And there are many levels. One is the causal conditions. The Buddhism emphasized emptiness or selflessness. If you don't study those topics, it could be not meaningful something. But if you really study about those topics and contemplate and kind of familiar with it regularly, then you can find it's very crucial, important. You are recognizing yourself, and also it's you can find freedom within this view, and you can find a kind of peace. And the freedom and the peace, we are not searching outside of the self something. We can find certain things that makes us satisfied and makes a little bit comfort in our life, a little bit easier, right? Like material things. It's a necessity, it's needed, it's a helpful. At the same time, if we don't taking care of our mind, build bad habitual patterns, mind chasing with object, that usually we do, and it build bad habitual patterns, then we can't control our mind. And then there's a greedy, hated, anger, or lots of kleshas arising. And then that makes us life is very complicated. There's no can find a peace. From Dharma point of view, and we have to find peace within its mind itself. And so then how we can find the peace and the happiness, if you want to look at it that way, eliminated the suffering. It's all just related to each other, right? If you eliminate the suffering, then you can find the peace and the happiness. If you find happiness, then automatically the suffering will go away, right? And here it says this, the Dharma teaching. What we have to do that we have to establish correct view that accord with the nature of reality. Relative view here is interdependently exist, cause and effect, what we described. If we want happiness, then we should emphasize cost of happiness. The cost of happiness is that the meritorious activities. That means cultivating loving kindness, compassion. That's one way. Other way is reciting mantras or say good words or truth. If we want to have conversation and care about others, not disturbing others' mind, right? Using harsh words or some the harmful using language. And the other thing is that the actions. Avoid harmful actions like sexual misconduct, killing or stealing, and so forth. Those we should avoid because we want peace and happiness. There is no magic, disappears all the problems. There is no magic. There is someone's granted us for happiness or meaning for something. And our life is dependent on our actions. That means that our life is dependent on our hand, right? So then here's view. If we want our life is a happier life, then some certain actions we have to perform. And particular, we have to understand the way things are. Where things are is interdependently exist, as we a little bit mentioned. And if we establish the view and involved correct conduct, our action, then the result automatically will occur. And the some result, it may take a little bit longer than others. It's just the same thing. If you plant a seed or something, that there is a cause condition involved, then it will grow, right? It may take a little bit longer to give the fruit. Some maybe a result will appear very quickly. It depends on what kind of plant you planted the seed. And so the topic, then the view that understanding the nature of reality. We know that the self is the most important person in our life, right? We always care about ourselves, and then how we can recognize the self that depend on the five skandhas: the form, feeling, the perception, the formation, the consciousness, all that put it together that formed the self. And relatively that we call the self. We want happiness and the peace, successful, meaningful something, good fortune. We don't want the suffering and the struggle and the problems. And then how we can eliminate those temporarily, we can subdue to some problems, and also according to Dharma teachings, we can eliminate ultimately, those problems. I think it's possible. The first, temporarily reduce our problems. The method is same thing. We have to have the correct view that interdependently exist. If we want good fortune something, then we should engage correct conduct, right? Conduct that related to according to the realities. And in some Dharma teachings saying that non-violence. Violence is the cause of the suffering. If something struggle in some situation is complicated, in the Dharma point of view, don't use violence as a method. If we do that, then we are creating more troubles. It's not solving the problems. We're creating more problems. It's wrong methods. And then how we can develop those non-violence actions, then we have to subdue ignorance. We have to subdue anger, hatred, victory over our kleshas. This is the ultimate victory. And free from the kleshas, we can find peace and happy within and ourselves. So, and have to look at ultimate view of the Buddhism. And Buddha, he taught a lot of time about emptiness, the selflessness. And that's where we can find, natural reality, if you want to say this. And so, selflessness, it's very crucial. It's not easy just immediately understand we can accept something, but as I mentioned at the beginning, when we talk about the selflessness, it needs more explanations. Have to study about those topics, and then think about those topics. And our mind is familiar with it, then we will experience it. Most people, when we frustrated, angry, or whatever, some bad situation occur, and from Dharma point of view, that some, of course, related to the outside of self in some conditions, right? But the core of this problem is that we hold it selfish, self-centered attitude. Sometimes we call it ego clinging. Every sentient being has that kind of mind, ego clinging. That's why we are in here, right? As long as we hold it very strongly, ego clinging, then try to find the peace and the happiness outside of the self. It's we can find a little bit, some methods that brings comfort in our life and a little bit happy something, but then a little while, just come back the same, feelings, the same problems. If I have this, then I will be okay, or whatever triggered something. And empty mind, never ever satisfied. And more craving, more needed or wanted, the greedy something. It's a troublemakers, if you look at. But here says this here. If you subdued ego clinging, this is not a simple thing. But if we do it, then real peace occur. Real happiness just blooming, right? And if you use this method, investigate it, examine it, this is based on the reasonings. It's not based on the blind faith. We as a human being, we do have the mind that to understand the nature of reality. Here is the selflessness, right? It says this, have to look at how we can hold on, what we believe that called me first. Is it called me as the body? Or is it called me, or the self is or some names, or possessing things, or title, jobs, or whatever. And here it says this, no, none of this is really the self. If you carefully look at it. But if you don't carefully look at, then some way we hold on that me, body is me, my mind is me, my speech is me, my clothing is me, my house is me, my family is friends. This is all just collecting as me. That's we grasping, right? Self-centered attitude, me, and then that's my something is more important than others. And as long as we hold anything, grasp it as me, then that's become some sort of, self. And so, and here says that look at the self that you think the self is your body, then body is similar. It's dependent on the many limbs. There's no solid to truly exist, the body. Body has many parts, right? And then if you any part of the body take out mentally, that we can use analysis, then there is no such truly exist body. Body made by many limbs made by joints and so forth. As go breaking down further and further, then there is no such truly exist the body. Body is emptiness. It doesn't truly exist. But in here, then it doesn't truly exist because we're breaking down further and further. That doesn't mean we are destroying body. Body first, their body truly exists. Then we take part of it, then there's no disappeared body. It's fundamentally, it doesn't have their body. That's the reason it appears as a body, right? It depends on this things we put it together. It some sort of appears as a body. And here, interdependent view is that the body is not truly exist. Therefore, it appears as a body. And the body is appearances. It's emptiness. Emptiness is body. And that's Buddha, he taught the Heart Sutta, right? Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form is not other than emptiness. The emptiness is not other than form. This is a very common, he's described the emptiness. And if we carefully think about it and study it, then it really makes sense. Particularly if you look at mind is the same thing. You can see there's no such truly exists something there. At the same time, you're aware of it, you understand something. It appears something, but if you carefully look at it, there's nothing. But that doesn't mean it disappears everything, right? The view here, take it like a dream, the example, easy to understand, but all phenomena is like the dream from Dharma point of view. The dream, when we are dreaming, whatever we are dreaming, like last Dharma teaching used elephant example. And okay, we can take elephant. It's fine. Doesn't matter what kind of dream we have. The elephant, we are dreaming. There's elephant, right? There's me, there's elephant, there's other people's watching elephant or touching, whatever. It's all things happening. And we can measure, we can do all sorts of things, elephant, in the dream. As long as you are sleeping, then everything exists. When you wake up, whatever you are dreaming, it doesn't exist. As long as we are living in the samsara, our mind is confused by the ignorance, occupied our some kleshas, involved our karmas, then everything exists. But that doesn't mean it truly exists. The dream, it never exists right from beginning, right? While you are dreaming, it doesn't exist either. Elephant doesn't exist. When you wake up, the elephant in the dream never disappeared. It never disappeared because when we said disappeared, the first they have existed, then something disappears, right? It's right from beginning it doesn't exist. That kind of we have to establish a view. Then the benefit is that then we tied, me, some sort of, disappears. Then whatever nature of itself manifest. It's completely freedom within itself. That is the view. It's needed. And then if you stay within that view, you can find freedom. Mind is not, we can say, occupied in the object or not chasing this object. Mind is not grasping anything. It's completely free. And that kind of experience, it's Yeah, Dharma of realization. It's antidote of the kleshas. It's antidote of the karma. And then, within in our mind, the relative, our mind is filled with wisdom. We are not negated. This is a wisdom, and this um, this phenomena, it just appears, right? It appears. As long as we confuse the mind, the some way involved, then we see unpure phenomena. And then the pure phenomena is if you mind completely pure or manifest as it is, then you have different view of the world. You can differently experience it. And then go there, we do have lots of Tantra teachings, right? Pure perceptions. And also it's possible to, the phenomena is endless. And yeah, it's the limitless. And if you go further and further, then yes, if you look at, these days, um, the world system, the universe is endless, right? They're similar. And if you look at subtle phenomena, atom go through the subtlest, go to there, then it's become empty. It's not just completely empty. Go further there, then we can discover the limitless, the qualities, the wisdom, and the wisdom Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and the pure realms, so forth. It's a kind of endless that go that directions. We do have lots of teachings based on this. This is not today. Today is just general, right? The Sutta teachings and the emptiness and the selflessness and interdependent origination. Okay, I think it's something like that, pretty much. If you have any questions, please raise hand, then we can talk about further.